What if I told you that one of the darkest moments in Indonesian history was hiding something far more terrifying beneath the chaos? Something unseen, something supernatural. Tonight, we're diving into one of the creepiest Indonesian horror stories ever made, the Massacre of Witches. And trust me, this story becomes darker every single minute. So grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's enter the nightmare. The story begins during the terrifying Indonesian riots of 1998. Across the country, protests had broken out against the government. At first, people demanded reform and change, but very quickly, the situation spiraled into chaos. Fires spread across cities. People disappeared overnight. Entire neighborhoods lived in fear. Even today, many mysteries surrounding those events remain unanswered. And according to this story, something supernatural was hiding behind the chaos. Inside a remote Islamic boarding school, two teachers named Yanwar and Rohim are posting updates about the riots happening outside. The students gather nervously around the news board. Everyone feels uneasy. Their leader, Ustad Ridwan, tells them to remain calm and continue praying. But then, a radio broadcast suddenly warns that religious figures across the region are mysteriously disappearing. Teachers, spiritual healers, scholars, one after another. Then suddenly, the lights inside the school go out. The hallway becomes completely silent. Strange whispers echo through the darkness. And moments later, both teachers vanish under terrifying circumstances. That's when the nightmare truly begins. We then meet our main character, Anissa. Late at night, she wakes up after hearing someone softly whisper her name. At first, she ignores it, but the voice keeps calling her. Slowly, she walks toward the door. When she opens it, she sees a pale woman standing silently in the hallway. The woman's appearance is deeply unsettling. Her eyes stare directly at Anissa without blinking. Terrified, Anissa slams the door shut. Her roommate Nurul wakes up and asks what happened. But Anissa is too frightened to explain, because deep down, she knows what she saw wasn't human. The next morning, students try to continue their normal routine. But something inside the boarding school feels different. Heavy, almost cursed. Ali and Satrio, two students at the school, overhear Anissa talking about the strange figure she saw. At first, they don't fully believe her, but even they can feel something strange happening around them. Then suddenly, all classes are canceled. Students are ordered back to their dormitories immediately. Nobody explains why, and that only makes everyone more afraid. Later that night, Ali and Satrio secretly sneak outside. While talking, Satrio admits that the school feels deeply unsettling. The teachers seem nervous. The atmosphere feels wrong, and Anissa's story keeps bothering him. So the boys ask her directly about the spirit. Anissa confirms everything. She really did see something terrifying. That same night, Anissa sees the mysterious woman again. This time, the spirit seems to guide her somewhere. Anissa follows the figure through the dark school grounds until she reaches an old well behind the building. And there, she notices strange objects placed around the well. Bundles wrapped in black cloth, symbols, ritual items. Before she can understand what's happening, a shadowy figure disappears into the darkness. Meanwhile, another teacher named Samir visits the room where the missing teachers were last seen. Suddenly, the atmosphere changes. The lights flicker. Cold air fills the room, and something terrifying begins moving in the shadows. Samir realizes something unnatural has awakened. Soon after, strange events begin happening across the school. Students hear whispers at night. Some begin acting strangely. Others claim they see shadowy figures watching them from the darkness. Anissa becomes convinced that an evil curse has infected the boarding school, but nobody listens to her. Then one day, Nurul suddenly experiences something horrifying. An unseen force drags her toward the old well outside. Anissa desperately tries to hold on to her, but within seconds, Nurul disappears into the darkness below. Then Anissa started screaming a lot. Meanwhile, Satrio becomes worried about his family outside the school. The riots are growing worse every day. Ignoring the warnings, he leaves the boarding school and heads home. But the outside world is even more terrifying than he imagined. The streets are filled with panic, and violent mobs roam the city searching for anyone accused of practicing black magic. Eventually, Satrio reaches home, and what he discovers completely breaks him. His father is gone. His mother tearfully explains that people falsely accused him of being involved with dark supernatural practices. Fear and hysteria had turned ordinary people against each other, and that fear destroyed countless innocent lives. Back at the school, Anissa begins remembering painful memories from her childhood. Years ago, her family struggled with extreme poverty. Her father became desperate for a better life. Eventually, he became involved with dangerous supernatural rituals. But Anissa's mother refused to let darkness consume their family. And from that moment on, her spirit remained connected to Anissa, watching over her, protecting her, even after death. Though Anissa still doesn't fully understand it yet, as the curse grows stronger, terrifying supernatural events begin happening everywhere inside the school. Anissa becomes convinced someone inside the boarding school is secretly practicing black magic, and all signs point toward one teacher, Ustad Bagas. She saw him near the well placing ritual objects there, but Bagas insists he was trying to protect the school, not harm it. Still, nobody fully trusts him anymore. Then the ghost woman repeats the same message again and again. Kiai's cottage. Eventually, Anissa realizes the spirit is trying to guide her toward the truth. Anissa and several students investigate the spiritual elder's cottage. Inside, they discover terrifying ritual objects everywhere. Dark symbols, strange tools, evidence of supernatural practices. The students immediately panic. But soon, the real mastermind finally reveals himself, Ustad Ridwan, the respected leader of the school. He was secretly using the chaos of the riots to perform dark rituals. His goal was to unleash supernatural power beyond human understanding. And now, his ritual is nearly complete. And then finally, the true mastermind reveals himself, Ustad Ridwan, the respected leader of the school. He was behind everything, the murders, the possessions, the black magic rituals, the undead army, all of it. Ridwan had secretly been using the chaos of the 1998 riots to perform massive satanic rituals. His goal? To summon evil into the world itself. He believed sacrificing spiritual leaders would give him unimaginable power. Inside the cottage, Ridwan captures Anissa and begins the final ritual. Outside, terrifying supernatural creatures surround the remaining students. Everything feels hopeless. But then, Ustad Bagas begins reciting holy prayers. The evil presence weakens immediately. At the same time, Satrio confronts Ridwan directly. During the struggle, Anissa notices a clay pot connected to the ritual. She realizes it's the true source of Ridwan's power. Through the chaos, she screams, "Break the pot!" Satrio smashes it instantly, and the moment it breaks, everything changes. The supernatural presence disappears. The darkness fades. Ridwan's ritual collapses completely. Suddenly, fire consumes the cottage. Ridwan disappears within the flames, and the movie leaves us with one terrifying question. Was it divine punishment, or did the darkness he worshipped finally claim him? The next morning, the nightmare is finally over. The surviving students sit quietly in silence, exhausted, traumatized, but alive. Then the ghost woman appears one final time. And finally, Anissa understands the truth. The spirit was never trying to hurt her, it was her mother. The same mother who protected her from darkness years ago. Even after death, she never stopped protecting her daughter. And with that realization, the spirit peacefully disappears forever. And that was the full story of the Massacre of Witches. One of the darkest supernatural horror stories inspired by one of the most tragic moments in Indonesian history. But the scariest part is this. Sometimes fear can turn ordinary people into monsters. If you enjoyed this nightmare, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more dark horror stories, and remember, some spirits never truly leave. See you in the next nightmare.